Hey everyone, it's Eric Jensen again here for more talk about this crazy week. Um, it's still excited about Lincoln Riley coming to USC, and what that means for the program. Definitely the right direction, I think, for the program. There's all sorts of other crazy coaching rumors and stuff going on. There's a rumor that Miami's really trying to get Cristobal from Oregon, so we'll see what happens there. Um, there's Notre Dame hiring Marcus Freeman. I think that's his name. He was their defensive coordinator. He's taking over as the head coach, and they're keeping all of their staff. So that's interesting. Basically, no one is following Brian Kelly down, fake Southern accent Brian Kelly down to LSU. So that's interesting. Whereas Lincoln Riley, he was able to take about everyone that he wanted to into USC. I mean, we'll see. There's still hopefully some more of those coaches that will come. I think we'll get more. We'll find out more about who's coming, who's not after the USC game this weekend when the season is officially over. And yeah, who knows? Recruiting is picking up for USC. They picked up the number one QB in 2023. They picked up a top running back for this class. Although, it's crazy because they only have, as of now, 5 commits. And they had several people decommit once Lincoln Riley came in. So we'll see what kind of miracles he can do. There's a lot of optimism about what he could pull off here. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of pull he has on those high school students. It's always hard to tell with them. Hopefully, he turns USC back into locking down California at least, whereas everyone gets to go or wants to go to USC. That's what we want. All right, what else is going on? We had in college basketball that's going on. Unfortunately for BYU, they lost to UVU. That was unfortunate for them. The USC is still undefeated though, looking pretty good. They dominated Utah. That was quite good, and so they've got a stiff test against Washington State next. I think on this Saturday. So that should be a good game. USC is surprisingly deep, but Boogie Ellis, if he gets hot, they could be a dangerous team. I'm liking them more and more as they keep playing. Hockey is going all right. Out here in the West, the Ducks are dominating the Pacific. They beat Vegas. They beat the Kings. Super entertaining hockey games. So just lots of goals. Lack of defense, but lots of goals. So that's good to see. Then we've got the big games this weekend. So let's go into the college football games. Today we've got a couple championships games. We've got Western Kentucky and UTSA for the Conference USA. I think UTSA is going to bounce back and actually win it. I think they're the underdogs, but I'm going to go with the Roadrunners. Then we have Oregon and Utah for the Pac-12 championship. And I put Pac-12 championship because we all know the real Pac-12 champion is BYU after going undefeated in their Pac-12 season. But I think I've got to go with Utah again. It's hard to beat the same team twice, but Utah looked so much better than Oregon. I think they're going to do it again. I think Utah's going to get their first Rose Bowl trip, even though it should be BYU. uh, all right. Then we've got the Big 12 championship game, Baylor, Oklahoma State. And I am going to go with Oklahoma State. Their defense is good enough that I think they will beat Baylor. I think it'll be a close game, though. I don't think either one is going to pull away. We've got the MAC championship, Kent State versus Northern Iowa. Not Northern Iowa, Northern Illinois. I've got no idea. The MAC, basically every team in the MAC is bowl eligible almost, and they're all basically the same. So it's a coin flip. We'll say Northern Illinois for no apparent reason at all. Then we have the Mountain West, Utah State and San Diego State. I really like Utah State, but San Diego State has been just consistent enough, especially on the defensive side of things, that I think I'm going to go with them. We've got the Sun Belt with the Raging Cajuns and Louisiana and Appalachian State, both two really good teams, actually. I think Louisiana's going to win it. They were ranked really high. They lost their very first game against, who was it? I can't even remember. But that's the only game they've lost all season long. I think they're pretty darn good. I'm going to say they're going to win by quite a bit, actually. I think that'll be a bigger separation. We have the SEC championship game, Georgia and Alabama. Alabama may have to win this to get in. I mean, they should have to win it to get into the playoff, but the college football committee is who knows what. I'm going to say Georgia, though. Alabama hasn't been impressive the last few weeks, so I think Georgia's going to win. And yeah. Then we've got Houston, Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati will beat Houston, although that'll be a real tough, close game. Houston is a good team. If I was picking the point spread, which I think Cincinnati's favored by 10, I would go Houston. But with just winning the game, we'll go Cincinnati. Then we've got Michigan, Iowa. It would just make me so happy if Michigan fumbled and lost to Iowa. I don't think that'll happen. I think Iowa's only chance is getting turnovers, and I think Michigan is going to just run the football. I think it'll be low scoring. I think it'll be close, but I do think Michigan is going to end up winning. I think Iowa actually, well, yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be close. And then we have Pittsburgh and Wake Forest in the ACC championship game. I think Pitt will win that one. I just don't have the faith in Wake Forest defense. And yeah. And then we've got the biggest game of the week, a meaningless game between USC and Cal. No, neither team can make it to a bowl game. It's at Cal. I mean, USC has the big news, the big change. Slovis has been practicing again, but I still think Dart is going to be starting as quarterback. I haven't heard one way or the other. I think, judging on how USC played last week, that USC is going to win this game. And I think they're going to win it big. I think they're going to put a complete game together. Here's wishful hoping maybe, but I think they're going to put a complete game together. They're going to want to establish the run again. They were running really good, and Keontae Ingram was back. So I think if they lean on that run game, not put too much on Jackson Dart, I think that would be great. And if their defense can play with some sort of energy like they did last week against BYU, I think they'll win. And I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to show Lincoln Riley that they fit on the team and that they should they fit into the future plans. It'll be interesting because I think the roster is going to be it's going to be real different. I think there's going to be a lot of people transferring out. I think there'll be a lot of people transferring in. So who although I do think there's going to be potential there for some players to say, I deserve to be here. First and foremost, Jackson Dart. I think I really like him. I like the way he plays, the way he carries himself. So we'll see what he does. The other things going on, I mean, last week for the Heisman, I have no idea. If Bryce Young beats Georgia for Alabama, I think it'll be him that wins it. Otherwise, I have no idea. No idea. And the other USC news is just, what can they do recruiting again? Like I came back to in the beginning. If I was, and what's going to happen to Dante Williams? If there's, with all the decommits that were committed when Lincoln Riley came in, it makes me seem like he's not going to stay. He says that there's been no decision and he's focused on Cal. I bet they've talked, and I bet he knows. And from what, just my gut, I don't think he's staying. I think he'll be going elsewhere, potentially to UW, to Washington. That's the rumor, at least. To be maybe a coordinator up there. That's the thing. If he stays at USC, he's not going to be a coordinator. He's going to go back to just being a position coach, and maybe not even the defensive backs coach like he was. So who knows what he wants personally, but it's been an interesting week at USC. They started one of the practices late to try and just make sure everyone's focused on Cal despite whatever. It's interesting. It's a weird thing having a new coaching staff in there and still having the old one coach a game. So I'm sure it's awkward. I'm sure it's awkward. Anyways, those are my predictions for this weekend. That's the biggest stuff. I guess what will happen? What do I think is going to happen with the college football playoff? We'll find out on Sunday who's going to be in the playoff. I think Georgia, win or lose, they're going to be in there. Since I think they're going to win, I think Michigan is going to win and they'll be in there. I think Cincinnati will win and be in there. That leaves the last spot there. And I think it'll be Oklahoma State that jumps in there ahead of Alabama dropping out. Notre Dame, I think their only shot to get in is if Oklahoma State loses. I don't even think the Cincinnati game matters to them. I think they need Alabama to lose and Oklahoma State to lose, and maybe even Michigan to lose to jump in, because Cincinnati, I think, will be ahead of Notre Dame regardless of whether they win or lose, since they beat them head to head. Of course, again, the college football committee makes no sense at all. Oklahoma State, I think they're in if Alabama loses, regardless of what happens, or if Michigan loses. Cincinnati, I think the only way they're out is if Oklahoma State wins, Alabama wins, and Michigan wins, then they'd be out, because Oklahoma State would jump ahead of them. So those are the scenarios, I think, going into this last weekend for getting into the playoff. Anyways, that's about it. So have it so good.